Well, good morning, everybody, all you happy shavers out there. Today it's just going to be a simple happy head shave, and I'm going to be using the Wade & Butcher in Blackhorn scales that I did up with some epoxy on the end, and also you see the crack right there. But that won't stop us. We're going to use it, and it's going to do great. It's the old Wade & Butcher trademark that does so well. Anyway, we're going to go to the strop. I'll do 50 passes or so on the strop, and then we'll get started. Here I am filling the scuttle with some hot water and then leave a little bit of water in the bowl to help the soap bloom. Someone had mentioned my brush earlier, so here's a good look at it. It's an antler brush I made years ago. And I take out the water with the brush a little bit, and I wet the scalp. So this takes quite a while. If you can imagine, as I tell people to ask me about the prep work, imagine a pine tree coming up through a large field of duct tape. That's a hair coming through your skin. And you want to push that tape, that skin, down to the base of the pine tree so that you can nip it off right at the surface. Because you can imagine that pine tree will pull up a lot of the surface. So anyway, that's why the prep work is so important. You're pushing that skin down, you make the hair supple, and you make the skin uniform. And the soap here feels really good getting on, especially if it's heated in a scuttle. So I'm going to put a little soap on the back of my head, and then I'm going to cut the sound so you guys can hear the first few strokes of a happy shave. And there's the first few strokes of a happy shave. I wanted to talk about the music a little bit. In open source music, back in really old 1920s music, they didn't use microphones. They used something called a sound cone or something like that. They collected music in a big, huge cone and directed it down to a needle that cut into wax to make a record. They found that certain instruments, like xylophones or tinny trumpets, did a better job than others. So that's why some of this old music has xylophones and stuff like that. Anyway, just a bit of trivia. I've been walking home, kind friends, but very, very slow. Wade & Butcher advertised that their business began in 1725, that they were producing razors. W&S Butcher, so William and Samuel Butcher, started making cutlery in Sheffield, England. They say on the advertisements 1725. However, William and Samuel, neither of them were born until the 1790s. So maybe a little embellishment there with the advertisements. But they created great cutlery probably around until 1830, when they partnered with Wade, who is an importer in New York. And so Wade & Butcher was born around 1818, 1820. And then they started, and they had this flourishing business in the 1830s of bringing high quality razors into America. And before 1891, you didn't have to put the country of origin. So it's pretty easy to date a razor if it just says Wade & Butcher, Sheffield. And they had the bow emblem on it. And if it doesn't have the country of origin, Sheffield, England, then you know it is pre-1891. But in any case, they continue to make really highfalutin cutlery, some great straight razors, just really, I call it the Cadillac of straight razors, until good old King Gillette started popularizing safety razors. I say King Gillette like the guy who made Gillette razors in the early 1900s. because he's the one who got the contract with the Army. So during World War II, he's the one who took safety razors and made a shave kit for troops. I even owned one for a while, the ball end razors that say property of US Army underneath the head. They're really cool. Anyway, he got the contract with the Army, and that basically spelled the death of straight razors in general. And Wade and Butcher succumbed pretty late in the game. In 1959, they ceased production. But it turns out that there's a resurgence. I found a website where they're advertising Wade and Butcher is coming back. So I'll be on the lookout for that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this simple head shave and with a Wade and Butcher. I'll give it a few strops. I'll put a little Vaseline on it before I put it away, because being carbon steel, it doesn't do well in bathrooms. If I have any leftover Vaseline, I actually rub down the horns, because being organic, it absorbs the oil, doesn't hurt it at all. And I rinse out the water of the brush and shake it out. Make sure you get all the water out there and hang it upside down so the water at the base of the bristles doesn't rot out the brush. Put it away for another happy shave. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed coming along on this one. Simple head shave with a cracked Wade and Butcher. Anyway, I'll see you at the next one, and happy shaving.